It's time for Tubi Tuesday. Alright, the final Tubi Tuesday of Halloween Horror Month. And we're taking a look at The Invitation, starring Logan Marshall Green, about a man who is invited to a dinner party at his former home by his ex-wife. And things seem off from the very beginning. He tries to figure out what is going on. It leads to what I feel is a very rushed climax. Okay, so first and foremost, this is a slow burn of a film. It's a slow burn, a slow build, and Halloween is a great example. Halloween is a great example of how you can do a slow burn right. This movie is not. There are times I found myself dozing off during this. It gets boring, and a lot of the character decision from our main character doesn't make a lot of sense. So, and there's plot points that are also kind of head scratching too. Like the first thing you see is that he and his new girlfriend, Will, main character played by Logan Marshall Green, they're driving on the way to the dinner party and they hit an animal, a deer or something, coyote I think it is, and they put it out of misery, and then they just continue on, and it's like, okay, what was the point of that scene? And they get there, and immediately as soon as they start into the dinner party, Will feels that something is off. And then throughout the film, he keeps trying to say that there's something wrong, something is going on, something's not right. But you keep leaving your girlfriend with these people. I mean, he starts claiming that there's something weird going on. He finds like drugs somewhere. He doesn't. There's some people that he doesn't know, and yet he keeps taking off on his girlfriend, leaving her with these people. He knows most of them from when he was his former life, I guess you could say. Something happened in the previous years where he and his ex-wife's son died. She then started trying to commit suicide, and then they ended up in a divorce. She met David, who similarly went through his own traumatic experience with his dead wife, and yeah, there are two weird people that they don't know, Pruitt and Sadie. It becomes very obvious that there is something going on, but like I said, what frustrates me is like he keeps complaining, he keeps yelling about there's something going on here, doesn't mean that right. You are just ignoring it, and then he will leave and venture off to look around this house for clues and stuff, like that, and leave his girlfriend with them. Like, I don't know. There's also some things that... So, I start playing... So, David and Eden, that's the ex-wife, they show this... This video on a laptop. It has Mr. Peanut Butter on My Penis from Halloween 2018 as this doctor guy. And he starts to explain what's going on, and it's very obvious these two have joined a cult. And then he started to piece together, okay, they don't know Pruitt, they don't know Sadie, they're part of the cult too. They start playing a game called I Want, which starts out innocent enough, I want to tell you all that I love you. I want to tell you about what happened to my wife. And one says, I want some of the cocaine you used to do, which they have laying around the house, even though he had an addiction to it. Okay? And then some guy says, I want a blowjob. And then they're like, okay, we gotta move on. And one of the chicks, one of the ladies, I don't remember her name, she's like, you know what, I want to leave. Pruitt's like, oh, I parked behind you. Let me go move my car. And while Will watches this go down, because they don't come back to her, I assume Pruitt killed her off screen. And I think, because David comes and starts talking to him while he's watching what's going on, and I think David distracts him so that Pruitt could kill her, because she never comes back into the equation, and then they would like find her body in the last reel or something. It's really weird. Like, I don't think, based on what we find out, they didn't let her go, so what happened to her, really? Who knows? And, like, there are endless scenes of them pouring wine into glasses, and I after about the third time, I went, they're hinting at something here. They're trying to point out that there's something with the wine. Like, it's poisoned or something, but no one's getting sick or anything. I'm like, okay. And then we get to the, like, third act of the film here. We see David go out and hang up this red lantern. It shows a red light. And I'm like, okay. And then they go in, and you start looking at the faces of Sadie, Pruitt, David, and Eden compared to the other people in the room. They know something's about to go down. Before this, Will found another laptop with a foreboding message from Mr. Peanut Butter on my penis, which basically sounds like it's like an ominous message that is not very uplifting, and it sounds very ominous. And when they come in with the wine, this time it's in a different container, and they're pouring it to everyone. And this is when Will realizes, nope, this is a ritualistic suicide. He starts telling people not to drink. You see one person drink. I don't like how this is handled, because we see Gina, I think her name is, drink it, and then he starts freaking out, starts flipping out. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. I'm a little ahead of myself. There's a thing earlier in the film about someone who has not made it to the party yet. Gina's husband, boyfriend, Choi, who has not. I don't like how they handle this character. Like, he goes outside, he finally gets signal, because apparently you can't get signal in the Hollywood Hills, which is bullshit. And he finds he has a voicemail from Choi saying he was there early before everyone else. He flips out on David and them, saying, where is he? Where the fuck is Choi? What'd you do with him? Only to, conveniently, he shows up after his little outburst. I'm sorry, I got called in, work. I'm like, what? I'm like, is he in on it? But then I'm like, no, that wouldn't make sense with the phone call that he left. What? No. They didn't handle this character well at all. It would have been better, much like with the other woman, if he finds her body in the last reel somewhere, their bodies somewhere stashed away, like in a garage or something. Just for him to show up all too conveniently. And I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to make you think that he's overreacting until the last act, when you finally show you that everything he's saying is true, and they still don't even handle it right, because he starts freaking out, starts destroying the glasses. Sadie goes, you ruined everything, and attacks him, and she gets her she gets knocked down on the thing, and she's like bleeding and stuff, and they're trying to help her. They call the hospital, and they're like, oh, she's not breathing. What? No, not her, Gina. They're like, oh. And it's like, no, there should be more focus. I think if you took the Sadie thing out, you keep them calm, you keep the cult members calm in denying everything still, and then you have Gina just go, and then they look at what happened, then it's proof. Then you have where they just start shooting people. But the way they do this doesn't work, in my opinion. Because, it's so matter of fact. Oh, she's not breathing. Huh? No, not her. Gina. Oh. And it's just like, No, there should be more impact on it. There should be more focus on Gina and less on the sadistic cult lady who's just nutso. So earlier in the film, she confronts Will because he sees her doing weird faces in the mirror, and he's like, "Well, you can fuck me if you want." I'm like, "Jeez, direct lady, you can hit me if you want." Whoa, 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 hey, calm down, all right? She's nuts, apparently. And then this starts the very rushed climax, and for a movie with a very slow build, it's always going to be negative for me where you have a slow build. You're like, okay, we got like 30 minutes left. Just start killing everybody left and right. It just doesn't work. It's like throughout this film, he's talking to people about how he feels and they're ignoring him, basically. So, oh, it's okay. You're just going through your stress from your kid dying. It's okay. That's all it is. And they keep dismissing it. And then once it's finally revealed that he was right, there's no time to apologize to him. There's no time to talk about it. Just everybody fucking dies except for, our main character, his girlfriend, and some guy named Tommy that we had one conversation with in the film. Yeah, everybody else dies, even our villains. You didn't shoot yourself in the stomach. Why? I don't know. David is stabbed, and they get outside, and they see that a bunch of other people living in the Hollywood Hills have the Red Lanterns. This makes no sense. Not only is it implying that everyone in the Hollywood Hills is in the cult, but the whole point of what they were trying to get across with this is that they joined the cult because of their grief from their past experiences with David's wife, the loss of the child. And that's why they did it. And you even get Pruitt, his ex-wife. Something happened with Sadie too, I'm assuming. They're trying to process their grief. And you can question, well, everybody else didn't have it except for Will. Yeah, but I think the whole point was that these people processing grief are bringing other people in just for the, ritualistic suicide stuff. And you can hear screams, which means that they didn't all go to plan. And yeah, it just doesn't make any sense that all these families, all these people everyone in this cult lives in the same place. I get there's a cult neighborhood. That could be a thing. But the Hollywood Hills, no. And it ends there. And it's like, okay, but what? Like, you spend this whole entire movie building up something only for it to just explode in the last 30 minutes and then end with a wet fart. By showing, hey, look. Everyone else is doing it too. Hey, wait, that makes no sense. Common sense overcomes all, and there's none in this movie, to be honest. It's boring up until the point, he keeps going through the house, finding reasons why everything is feeling unsettling. There's bars on the windows. The doors are locked. Something is going on, right? No one listens to him. And it doesn't make sense. There would be at least one person who would think and go, wait a minute, he might be right. Even his own girlfriend is like, maybe we should just leave. But, she wants to leave because he's making her uncomfortable. He forsakes his own girlfriend to go around and snoop when he suspects there's something weird going on, but he doesn't want to protect his girlfriend. It just doesn't make any sense. All in all, I'd have to say, when it comes to The Invitation, it's not worth your time. I've heard people praise this movie and I don't get it. Right? I get a shot. People praising this movie. It leaves me going, it's just not worth your time. All right? So what are your thoughts on The Invitation? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.